What's going on, guys? So if you didn't check it out already, go check out, I'm gonna fix you guys here in a second. Go check out our Cyber Splight Frog video where we did the deck list, where we did some replays. I'll have a few more replays at the end of this video after we do some combos. I want to show you guys the combos of the deck, what it can do. 1-card combos, 2-card combos, 3-card combo with the route you can go. There's so much that this deck can do, and I kind of just played it as like, let's just see where this goes, and it goes. Like, this deck is actually going to be really good. I think if people pick it up, it's going to be the best way to play Cyber Dragon, arguably. Ban lists can change that. You know, the way the format shifts can change that. But just like right now, off the top, Splight, Cyber Dragon with frogs, like the deck's actually pretty crazy. I did change up my deck list really slightly, so if you guys want another one already, like, let me know down below and we'll work on that. Otherwise, I'm going to hold off for a bit since we just did do a deck list, just testing different ratios, because obviously it was not on Gamma in the original one, but the card is just so broken. So this is Core. What can Core do? Core Search Rev, All Mirage, Rev back Core. Like, in pure Cyber Dragon, what does Core do? Like, on its own, Core does nothing. We're going to go into our Elf, then our Gigantic, and then we can bring out Blue, which goes and grabs our Jet, go grab our spell, and then we can go into IP. Starter can go ahead and bring out either your red or your carrot being the spell or trap negate, red being the monster negate, and you have your IP, your Gigantic. So you can essentially go like Splight or carrot, pop your Gigantic to negate and destroy spell, trap, monster, whatever you go for, and then IP and carrot, red, whatever, into Nightmare Unicorn and discard any of your 4 cards remaining. So Core on its own equals a negate and a spin back to deck. So that's pretty good. I feel like 1 Core equals 2 disruption now. Like, that's pretty good. We'll get on into the next 1-card combo. So this time we have Splight Starter. Again, 1-card combo. What can you do if you open Splight Starter? You go ahead, Splight into Blue, into Jet. Jet just grabs you another starter. Then you can go into your Gigantic, who then can summon out your Swap Frog. Swap Frog, go ahead, send your Ronin to the grave. Elf, bring back Frog. Frog again, send Frog. Ronin, banish Frog, summon, go into our Toad, and then you can set your Splight Starter. So now, on your opponent's turn, like during the standby phase, your Toad can summon out your dupe, and then you have your Splight Starter that can summon out your red or your carrot for another negate. You have Toad who can negate, destroy. You can set their card depending on the matchup. Sometimes setting that card is actually really important. It prevents floating in the grave. It prevents using it in the grave. It just prevents a lot of things like that. So you have your Toad, and then your Elf. Remember, when they have a monster, your Elf can revive your Toad for a second negate. Toad also goes and grabs you. When it goes to grave, you'll use one of your materials. You can go and grab like your Swap Frog back, and then the second time it goes to the grave, if you want, you can put the Toad back, or you can grab like Ronin, or you don't have to do either. Kind of up to you. Like, you don't have to be worried about putting your Toad back, because Elf can go ahead and summon it back anyway, and we do play 2 Elf. So you have double Toad, and then also Splight Starter for a 3rd negate. So Splight Starter on its own equals 3 negates, which is like, it's pretty good, guys. I'm not going to lie. And this kind of plays around Dark Ruler a little bit if you hold your starter until you know, because then you can kind of use your Toad negates, Splight Starter, and if they have nothing and can't play the 2 Toad negates, you can always Splight Starter into Blue or into Jet. I mean, obviously you'd go Blue, because then Blue can grab Jet if you want, and just like build up your resources for next turn. We do have another 1-card combo though. So this time we have our Swap Frog. What does Swap Frog do on its own? Some of these are just pretty much basic, you know, Splight combos. So swap, you go dump your Ronin, then Ronin you get into your Elf, summon back Ronin, Gigantic, and here we're going to kind of do the same thing as like Core into Rev system, where it's not quite an ideal combo, but again, this is 1 card, and the deck plays so many extenders. Like, these 1-card things are almost never going to happen, but you just need to know like which cards can do it just in case, or if you're like playing through Disruption, ending on your Gigantic and your red. Like, I played through multiple disruptions before, and like ending on this board through disruption usually isn't very hard. And it's like, well, it's not a great board. No, it's not the best board in the world, but if you can end on 2 disruptions through like 2 or more negates, like that's still not that bad. Let's get into some more combos though. So here now we have the bread and butter, the Cyber Dragon combo, core emergency. None of these combos will use dupe, because personally, don't play dupe in this build. It's going to be way too bricky. I'm actually super happy with the ratios and where we've got everything worked out to. But here we're going to go into our Galaxy Soldier playline, not using the Gammas in hand because they just signify 3 dead cards, not discard fodder. So Nova brings back your core. You made your infinity, and now you can just go off. And again, you're doing the same Splight combo at this point, where you're going to end on like the negate and the spin, but you're also having infinity on top of it. So you end with your IP again. So negate and destroy, spin back to deck. 3 disruptions pretty easily. Here is one version of a 3-card combo. We'll have another couple 2-card combos after this as well, but like core extender, bread and butter, and a level 2. I picked carrot because if you have Splight starter, Splight jet, Splight blue, these combos will actually end better. So I wanted to pick one of the 2 that just it doesn't generate any other advantage on its own. Difference being like we're not going to end with like IP, negate, double frog, infinity with this hand because we didn't have that level 2 that generates advantage. So we end with the double frog, infinity with pretty decent follow-up. But again, if you had blue, if you had starter, if you had the jet, then instead you'd be able to extend a little bit further, and you would have your toad still, but then you would say you would have summoned your blue, which would get you jet. So now you could summon out your jet here. You could go into IP, and jet would have also got you your spell. So then your starter would go ahead and get your carrot, your red on top of the IP, the elf, the toad, the infinity. And it's just, keep in mind, guys, that starter locks you like the turn you use it. So if you, there's gonna be times where you set starter and you use it on your opponent's turn, and if you want to, like if you say have IP gigantic starter, you need to use your IP and your how do we do? Yeah, you use your IP and your gigantic into unicorn, discard. Then Splight starter is not going to be able to get you a negate in that instance. Otherwise, how did we? We'll show the replays because there's a lot of little niche. That's how you say it, right? Niche. A lot of little niche actions. But before we ramble too much, I do want to show one more combo. Core blue. Like this could be blue, jet, or starter. Like the 2 cards. Let's go core blue, then you just go into your gigantic, then you bring out your swap frog. A lot of these, again, they're going to be pretty repetitive. I search out the rev system because actually at that point, say we would have held jet in our hand, we could have held jet and rev system because that's still basically combo, like through disruption, because you would have your jet, which gets you starter, and your rev system gets core, which means you can special jet, which means you can use your Splight starter. So it would actually just help us play through a little bit better. You would have used gigantic and the frog to go into your elf, and the only difference here is you wouldn't have gigantic on board or starter in hand, but you'd have jet in hand still. End board with no disruption, it's not going to change anything, but then here you would basically put out your toad and then you would summon your jet because now you have protection from it. So again, gigantic wouldn't be here, but you could summon out your jet, you could rev back your core to get your IP, and then you could starter into whatever. No disruption, it doesn't change anything, but in the event that your opponent had disruption, it's nice to hold the jet, hold the rev in your hand, and then get to your toad and then summon the jet and go off that way. But we do have a couple replays, so let's get on into those. So here we're up against Trap Tricks. This is one I wanted to show just because I actually made a misplay and lost because of it, but we would have been in a much better situation had we, not done that. Whoops. But I'll show you guys too because it's actually a really important thing to remember. So he ends on Imperm, Floodgate Trap Hole, Dogmatic Punishment, has an Ash, has a Fleur de Lis, Like, he's got a lot here, so let's see what we can do. We normal summon the Dupe Frog, special the Jet, which gets met by Ash Blossom. We cross out the Ash, but then he punishments and imperms. So imperm's going to negate it anyway. Punishment then in Tis, and Tis going to get rid of Dupe Frog as well. Trap Trick Sarah then also getting him another trap. So he does get to the Maramello, which then is going to go ahead and set. Trap Trick Sarah also effect. But we can go, since we have starter and blue, we can still attempt to keep playing. First off though, here I definitely meant to click carrot, just because like once you start rolling again, it actually gives you that spell or trap negate, which I grabbed the wrong one and got the monster negate. But we still have blue in hand as well. He hits us with the floodgate trap hole, which actually Book of Moons it. So now we're in, again, not a very good situation. He draws Golden Lord for turn, and we know that it's Gravedigger trap hole set. But like I said, I meant to grab carrot. It would not have mattered, but that is still what we wanted to do originally, just so you guys are aware. Normal blue special Jet grabs starter, and I should not have used starter here. Like, he doesn't have anything. I'm playing around Gravedigger trap hole because I don't have much for life points left. I should have kept starter in my hand, however, and used those two to go into. I like completely thought myself right out of this. Sky Cavalry. So it can't be destroyed by battle while it has material. If this card battle an opponent's monster, you can detach material, return that monster to the hand. I wouldn't even necessarily bother with that. I would just go into your Sky Cavalry, and then you can go ahead and say attack the Sarah. Attack into the Sarah, and then main phase 2. Overlay into Downard, overlay into Zeus. Zeus board wipe their remaining field, and you'd still have an extra Zeus on your or on their turn. You'd still have Splight starter 2 at that point. So then, like main phase 2, you could Splight starter into blue. Blue go search out like red, especially your red. So you'd end with red plus Zeus, which is, you know, pretty good to be able to do. However, we didn't do that, so we do end up losing. We try to just like full on commit to something, and then I'm not going to show the rest of the replay because I get to a point where I'm like, oh, I can't do what I needed to do, and we lost because of it. But that is what I was kind of going for. We did, however, have another replay against him, and yeah, he's playing the branded stuff with it. This time we just opened and saying we had core Splight. Like I said, we had a core blue and extender, so you're just going to see us like pop off at this point, especially because he has a DD Crow, but we have Called By, and we also have Ash, so like the deck pops off. It can brick. I don't want to say it can't. I don't want to be like, oh, the deck's insane, so consistent. It is, but it's not the end all be all. Can't brick, can't do bad, tier 0, tier 1. It's not tier 1 either, guys. It's not the best way to play Splight. Is it really good? Can it see success? Can you win events with it? Absolutely. Is it the best way to play Splight? No. Is it viable? Yes. Does it work? Yes. I think those are things to kind of understand about that. So we end up going into our Toad there, special Jet, grab our starter, then you go into IP, set it. So here we end the double Toad, Infinity, IP, starter, like we end just everything. And then Toad, I didn't mean to set it. I accidentally clicked yes to set it. Sometimes you want to, sometimes you don't. And then Branded Fusion, which we meet with an Ash Blossom. Special summon out the Ecclesia. Infinity negate Elf Chainlink 3 just to get Toad back since he has a monster. Now we still have our Toad negate. We still have IP. After Toad negate, we would actually be able to go into our Splight starter as well. Instead, on our turn, we just IP into our Appaloosa. And then we can negate the Ice Dragon's Prison pretty easily as well. Also considering running access code instead of Appaloosa. That is just one of those things that I'm testing back and forth currently. So here now we're actually on the wrong side, so we're going to go grab the right side. We are against Splight. He opened up Frog, Blue, a couple hand traps. We have Gamma here, and you could argue that I should have Gammaed right away, which like I thought about it, but it's like he's just got to have one extender, and he actually had the Ash anyway. I was like, if he has that one extender, I'm kind of in trouble anyway. He summons out the red, but it's a really good replay because I can show you guys how good Gamma really is in this matchup, because Gamma also is not once per turn. So we can go ahead here in Gamma, and he basically force out the red because, you know, he's kind of got to do it because he's going for Toad, so we stop it. So he uses red, we Gamma, he uses red. Ronin comes back then he goes into Gigantic, which we can Gamma again. Unfortunately, he has the Ash Blossom, so he does stop it. Summons out another Toad. Does not use the effect because of Gamma, and it's like, well, if he if he uses the effect, I Gamma, he can't do anything. So he only ends on Toad for 1. He could have went into, I guess, Toad for 1, Splight red for 1, instead of going into Elf. We draw a Call by the Grave, which again, it's another insane card in this matchup. So we go ahead, grab, and then we go Cyber Dragon Core. He meets it with Effect Veiler, which honestly that's fine with this hand because it's still a level 2 while negated. Special Summon Splight, effect, Called by the Grave on the Toad to negate it. And then we can go ahead, grab our starter, make our Mega Fleet, make our blue, and he's just going to accept defeat at that point because we got blue, Jet, Mega Fleet. You know, he's got his 1 card, no hand. He knows we have Splight starter, and he knows what Splight does, so we take that game pretty handily. Here we go. This was a fun one. Emancipator. Didn't really expect to see it. I forgot which game this was. We ended up going first. For those who don't know, I do like 2 Splight red. I feel like it comes up decently often, and it's a really easy card to side out. So we kind of just open like Splight combo here. Now we can go ahead and Splight starter out into just get that card out of deck, and then you can go into your Gigantic Splight. And I also like the utility here because now, depending on like what he is playing or going against, Elf can always summon back the Carrot. Obviously Toad being the Omni negate too, but like it gives you a little variety if like something were to happen to Toad. But so we end with the IP just for a few different disruptions. Summon out the Dupe Frog. He goes whatever that little guy is, who actually did a decent bit. Doki, then effect, discard for cost, then we pop it, summon back Toad, grab back Swap Frog, summon, and then we go ahead and summon it. He is actually playing Splight. I thought this was the other replay. Oh no, he like rage quit super hard. It was a really good replay, and my EDO froze like after he rage quit, and I tried to use like most recent replay, and it showed me a replay from like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, okay, that's kind of busted and like sucks. But it was such a good matchup, the other one, and I really wish it would have saved it. But Emancipator, like Researcher, Doki, level 2s, that other weird little fish guy, like level 2. The deck was actually pretty interesting, so Emancipator Splight is a thing. Nearing the end of the video, we're going up against Despia this time. You know, he actually made us go first, which I thought was kind of interesting. This was a game 2. We broke his board game 1 pretty easily, and then I opened double hand. I think it was like Ash and Gamma, and he couldn't do a whole lot, so it wasn't a real interactive replay. But then he made us go first. I don't know if he saw Splight actually game 1, so he might have just been thinking Cyber Dragon can't go first right now, and well, we show him a little bit wrong. So like I said, it's pretty repetitive, everything we're doing. Then we can go ahead, frog again. So we're gonna end double frog, IP, infinity, carrot. We set that just to make it look a little more intimidating. I'm not too worried about that. Then Toad negate destroy, infinity negate that, and it's like he just doesn't really have much of anything left. Then we can go ahead and grab our frog. He could Nadir Servant at that point, I guess, sending like Intis, doing like send in Tis to get Ecclesia, and Tis then try to do something, but I guess red can pop in Tis anyway. So, and then we also have the IP still. Like, there's not a whole lot he was going to be doing. So that's it for this video, guys. Again, if you want to see the updated deck list, let me know down below. We'll go ahead and work on that for you guys. But it's been a lot of fun testing this deck. There's some combos. There's more replays. We had our version 1.0 of the deck and replays already posted as well, so go check that out. But like I said, I'll do an updated list if you guys want, but for now we're going to hold off on it. Till next time, guys, thanks for watching.